Who doesn't love colorful, picture-worthy macarons? Unfortunately, they're quite difficult to make, so hopefully this video helps with some tips that will make your macarons better. These cookies are naturally gluten-free, and you can also fill them with just about anything, so you can take artistic liberty with that. But without further ado, let's go to the kitchen. For this recipe, you are going to need 3 egg whites at room temperature, 50 grams of white sugar, 200 grams of powdered sugar, 120 grams of almond flour, a pinch of salt, 1/4 teaspoon cream of tartar, and food coloring of your choice. Preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and then put parchment paper on a baking sheet. Add eggs and beat until foamy. Once your eggs have reached a foamy consistency, you can now add the cream of tartar, a pinch of salt, just a pinch, then your sugar. Beat this for 8 to 10 minutes. Your mixture should become white and thicken in consistency. Make sure your mixer is on a high setting and make sure you scrape the sides of the bowl with your spatula. Now you're trying to form stiff peaks with this meringue. At this point, your meringue should have the consistency of stiff peaks. Now you can add your food coloring. Make sure you use gel food coloring and not liquid. Now you will have colorful macaron shells. So for the next step, you can either use a cup sifter like this, or just a mesh strainer / sifter. So what we're going to do is we're going to sift the almond flour into a bowl. What this is going to do is get rid of lumps and make a really smooth cookie. So just put it into your sifter and sift away. Now sift the powdered sugar into the almond flour. Now pour your dry mixture into the meringue. So what you're going to do now is do not use your mixer for this. You're going to use your spatula and do a figure-8 motion and fold in your batter. You can do an approximation of 65 to 75 times, but essentially just like right when the powder mixes into the meringue is when you need to stop. Do not overmix. Transfer your mixture into a piping bag. Put a cup under it to make sure you don't spill out the bottom. Tie up the top of your bag so it's tight, and then pipe circles onto your sheet. This recipe makes about 24. So if you see any air bubbles on the top, which you probably will, all you have to do is hold your pan up a few inches off the counter and drop it. Do this a few times and scare your family, and all the air bubbles will come out and this will prevent cracking. Now let your macarons sit on the counter for 30 minutes to an hour. This will allow the top shell to get hard and avoid cracking. The macarons are done resting when you can touch the top without your finger making an indent. Put your macarons in the oven for 20 minutes. The macarons are about halfway done, and at this point you should start to see feet developing. Feet are the little puffy things around the outside, and your macarons should be puffing up, not out. When your macarons are done, they should be slightly darker than their original color, and they should also have the feet on them, and when you lift them up, they should easily come off the parchment paper. So that's what the bottoms look like. After about 5 minutes of letting them cool on their pan, you can transfer the macarons to a wire rack to cool completely, and then you're all done. You can fill macarons with a variety of things. I'm going to be making a cherry buttercream with 75 grams of powdered sugar, half a stick of quilt butter, and cherry juice, but you can also fill it with jam for a dairy-free option.